Hello everyone and welcome back to Strife Solutions here on the Yogscast server. I am of course William Strife and this is Yogscast Complete, or Yogpack if you prefer, a special version of modded Minecraft for us the Yogscast. If you want to play along, you can get the community version off of the AT launcher. A link is in the description. So guys, last time I put together, well, for one, I rearranged the lab, but what the last episode was all about was Minechem and getting these machines up and basically doing a simple rundown of what you do with the microscope, what you do with the chemical decomposer, and the chemical synthesis machine. And what you just you know, as a fast recap, you examine the machine, you examine elements, and then you decompose them and reconstruct them on a chemical level to make whatever the hell you want. Granted, you know how to reconstruct them into what you want them to be. And you record it all into your chemist's journal, which I have right here. And if I right-click, you can see that I've been sending stuff, all sorts of stuff, through the microscope. There are more things in the game that I could send through it, but like I said in the last episode, Minechem, I've heard stories, and now I've got experience with the mod just not really cooperating very well with things from other mods. For example, lead right here. Lead and copper are pretty much the only two things from outside of vanilla Minecraft that I ran through that microscope, and it started to lag something serious when I put them in. For that matter, just like 6 or 12 lead ingots gave me so much raw lead components, yet just the element of lead, that I don't think I'm ever going to need to decompose any more lead, for that matter. So, you know, another warning. Be careful with what you put into the microscope, well, specifically the microscope from Minechem, much so more for the chemical decomposer, because you never know what might crash your game or corrupt your data. So, that is that. Now, let's get around to what this episode is about. Now that, you know, last time that I showed you how this stuff was built and how the basic premise of how it works, and I've done all of this research, what I want to do this episode is cover drugs and chems. Naturally, one of the really cool things about chemistry is that you can start making all sorts of pharmaceuticals, and there are some interesting things that you can do. But what's more is that some of the chemicals or raw elements that you can pick up in this game, you can always tell the difference between elements, which, you know, nitrogen, chlorine, potassium, iron, gold, lead, all of these things. The way that you can tell the difference between standard elements and compounds, right here, these are compounds, magnesium oxide, silicon dioxide, water. The way you can tell is that there's no letter up at the top. It's just the stack number at the bottom. There will never be a letter on compounds, as where elements will have a letter representing, you know, what they are from the periodic table. So, what I'm gonna, what's really cool about the elements is that if I come over here and I hold down Shift, you can see that there are tooltips in bright blue down there about what these things can do for you. Okay, just move gold over to the side. Occasionally creates lightning strikes, which charges inventory. These things can be infused into what is known as a poly tool, and the poly tool is like an endgame combination weapon mining implement from Minechem, so I'm going to go and show you that. But before I get into any of that, let's get on to the actual chems now. So first of all the things that I want to make, I guess the first thing that I should cover is retinol. Retinol is something that I found while decomposing carrots, believe it or not. Here we go, retinol. Retinol is an interesting little compound. Carbon 20, hydrogen 29, oxygen, hydrogen. I don't know, I'm not a chemist, I don't know what the OH stands for at the end there. I'm certain many of you will tell me down in the comments, but the point is, retinol is decomposed from carrots. If I go ahead and open this up right here, and I select carrot, you can see 100% chance to decompose retinol from carrots. And retinol is basically a really quick and easy way to get night vision. As you can see, the sun is kind of setting outside, I think. Can't really tell. But if I go ahead and just hold down right click, I'll drink up this retinol, and it got a little bit brighter, and I've got 5 minutes of night vision now, and look at how bright it is outside. Now, unfortunately, you know, Minecraft and those terrible in-your-face buff effects. I don't really like that, but, you know, it's something that I can deal with for the most part. Next up, well, that's the really fun part. I'm gonna need to dive into my chests over here. As you can see, I've got a whole bunch of chests along the line here. What I've got right here at the end is the hydrogen chest, because that's the most common element that I'm gonna end up getting my hands on, followed by a carbon and oxygen chest. Those three elements seem to be in so many different compounds. Okay, so to make this super special element, you have to make it yourself. It cannot be discovered. You need carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and sulfur, okay? So I'm going to open up the chemical synthesis machine, and it has to be in a very specific combination. It's 16 carbon, 18 hydrogen, 2 nitrogen, 4 oxygen, and 1 sulfur, okay? And like I said, you can't get this this particular compound without knowing it, okay? So it can't be discovered normally. But, you know, you start looking around on the wikis and stuff, and you will find it very quickly. This is the absolute most awesome thing that MindChem introduces on a functional level, and that is penicillin, okay? So what does penicillin do? Well, if I drink this down, look at that. You see my hearts? It gives me Regen 2 for 5 minutes, and it works like a bottle of milk, okay? It removes all of the debuffs. So all of the negative effects on my character are removed, and I get Regen 2. So penicillin is just an absolutely ungodly powerful thing to have, okay? And given the number of witches and whatnot on this server who can curse you, it's not exactly the worst of ideas for me to have this stuff on my person all the time. The catch is that, you know, it's kind of expensive, you know. However, it's not that difficult to get your hands on all of the elements to make penicillin. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, you can get gross amounts of that stuff from decomposing just wood. Wood decomposes into cellulose, and cellulose decomposes into carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. You might have to decompose some extra coal in order to get enough carbon to make this work, to make up the deficit. Nitrogen, you can get that from just feathers, okay? So having a chicken farm downstairs, that's where you're going to get the bulk of your hydrogen from. And sulfur, that's easy, just gunpowder from creepers. Or potentially actual sulfur as it's introduced in the game. So that's penicillin. Now, to get on to the more interesting of the elements, okay? Netherwort will decompose into cocaine hydrochloride. How's that for you? I mean, how's that for... I mean, wow. Cocaine hydrochloride. So, I don't know what this is going to do to me, but it is a narcotic. I think this hydrochloride... I'm pretty sure that this is a straight-up poison. You know, however, it is, you know, Minecraft, so... Okay, so that gave me speed for 27 minutes, nausea indefinitely. It's probably given me a couple of other things. But oh my god, does it ever make you sick? So, careful with that stuff, eh? However, I can take this cocaine hydrochloride and put it back through the chemical decomposer, and I can get hydrogen chloride, which is something that's highly toxic, and I can get straight cocaine. Look at that. And cocaine is made of carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. Not too radically different from penicillin. It's just missing the sulfur and in a different quantity. But cocaine isn't that bad. I could definitely make this stuff and sell it to people. Now that gives me nausea, but it only lasts for a certain amount of time. And I also get speed off of it and night vision, as you can see. So, you know, I could definitely make people feel really good off of this stuff. I'm probably going to have to look into a front to sell these things to people. So there's your cocaine and cocaine hydrochloride and all sorts of fun stuff. Okay, so there's your Coke. Coke is fun. Coke is good. No, seriously, kids, don't do drugs. Now, for something a little bit darker than cocaine, a little bit darker than THC, something that's all the rage, especially if you've played Grand Theft Auto, methamphetamine. Meth is actually a pretty simple material to make. Just like the penicillin, methamphetamine is something you can't make unless you already know the recipe. So to make the meth, you need 10 carbon, 15 hydrogen, and a single nitrogen. Okay, so there you go. That's the recipe for meth. 10 carbon, 15 hydrogen, and 1 nitrogen. And you get methamphetamine. So I'm going to go ahead and make a couple of those. Not not too many for the time being. And before I even show it off, I'm going to go ahead and record this in my chemist's journal, so I know how to make it whenever I need to. So, meth, pretty simple stuff. Drink it. I get nausea. Definitely did a number on me. I think that I get speed or something else. I don't really know, but it's a drug, and whether I choose to sell it in its raw form or, you know, in its as for medicinal purposes, it's a chemical that I can make. So there's your meth. Oh, something that I almost forgot: testosterone. You can also make testosterone. To make that, you need carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. I might have enough in here to do all of that. So carbon, you need 19 of them. Then you need 28 hydrogen, followed by just 2 oxygen. The sulfur and the nitrogen, completely unneeded. So testosterone is pretty cheap to make. You can go ahead and... I can only make 1 because I don't have enough stuff inside of the synthesis machine, but, you know, it's not that bad. Go ahead and record that recipe. Now, with the testosterone, I believe this gives me strength, at the least. So yeah, I got strength, and I've probably got a couple of other debuffs that are not quite seen, and whatnot, but strength is one of them, and it lasts for 3 minutes, so it's not bad. I mean, it's certainly not the best. I mean, it's good. It's good stuff to make, you know, it's because it's marketable, people. It's marketable. Don't do drugs. It's marketable. It's completely marketable. You know, you can put it in a pill and sell it to people, and even though it'll probably ruin their lives just as bad as the drugs you sell off the street, it's marketable. Don't do drugs. Anyways, that's everything for the actual chemicals that you can make, the ones that I know about at least. So let's move on to the poly tool, hey? Okay, so the first thing you need to know about the poly tool is that it's not cheap to make. It takes 4 of these carbon nanotubes. 1 carbon nanotube is composed of 6 stacks of carbon, okay? Now, luckily, you get 4 of these nanotubes from 1 diamond almost every single time you put it through the decomposer, so it's not too difficult. You just need to decompose a full stack of diamonds to get this many carbon nanotubes. That being said, if you have the spare diamonds on hand, you know, that's not something simple, easy, and quick. So I'm going to go ahead and clear that out, and I'll put the carbon nanotube pattern up in there, and you can see that makes the poly tool. Now I'll put everything in there, and I'll take it out. There we go. We've got ourselves a poly tool, and that's also saps the energy on this, so there we go. It's all full up again. So now I've got myself a poly tool. Now, the poly tool is what I was talking about in the beginning of the episode. This is basically a very high tier weapon and mining implement all combined into one, and it's indestructible, okay? So it doesn't have durability. If I right-click with this baby, it gives me a bunch of stats, but it also has these rings around it. So if I come down here, hydrogen creates explosion if hit entity is on fire. So I can take this hydrogen and I can drop it in here. Now, the more of the element you put into this, the more strong the reaction will be, whatever it is that it, you know, is supposed to happen whenever you use it. So nitrogen preservation allows retrieving of fresh meat from rotten flesh. So what this basically means is whenever you kill zombies, you're going to get fresh meat instead of rotten brains or whatever it is. Carbon, this drops more coal from diamonds and ores, so that's like a fortune enchant. Oxygen, extra air when mining underwater, so you don't, you know, suffocate. That's not a big deal to me due to my genetic augmentation. So there are a whole bunch of them. Okay, so if I come into my chem chest here, you can see that I've got a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm going to take some phosphorus, and I'm going to take some sulfur, and I think that I'm going to take some helium as well, because creates explosion if hit entity is on fire. So I'll go ahead and take one of these, and I'll right-click with the poly tool. I'll insert sulfur. I'll insert phosphorus. If it would let me. No, it won't let me. I guess phosphorus and sulfur are mutually exclusive. You can only have one, not both. So, no phosphorus, but the sulfur sets my entities on fire, and then I can put hydrogen in. And that means that one is going to set my entity on fire, and the other will make them explode. Now, granted, I'll probably have to hit them twice, but all the same. Let's hop down and see if we can find something to hit. Okay, here we go. It's the middle of the day, so I'm not really gonna... It's slim pickings, you know, the middle of the day. But if I hit this pig... Oh god, that is fantastic. Oh, I've got another way to troll Parvis. Check this out. Oh, that is fantastic. Oh my god, this thing is fantastic. Okay, hey cow. Oh my god. Oh jeez. This is too much fun. And what's more, the mining tool, despite the fact that I haven't modified it at all, and it's just a standard, you know, poly tool, it's a pretty quick mining implement. I seem to be getting a bit of block lag here on the server. I don't know why. So not optimal, but you can see that it's mining very, very quickly, even though the lag is kind of working against me. I'm actually working faster than my connection can kind of keep up. I don't know what's going on. So guys, that has been Minechem. I know that there are more things in the mod that can be done, but unfortunately a lot of the more interesting things like the particle colliders and the reactors that you can build, they have a habit of crashing the server, so I'm not going to be getting into that. That and the fact that the reactor that I have down in the basement of the solution tower is more than sufficient for what I need, so there's no really good reason for me to build another more complicated and less reliable reactor for that matter. So until next time guys, I am William Strife of Strife Solutions, and I am on the uptick, and you know what? I think it's time that I do something that's not inside of a lab, so we'll see what I get up to next time. Until then though, bye!